Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another video, and I know it's been a while, but there just hasn't been anything new until finally today Amazon came through with the pre-order on the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection, the Mighty Morphin Ranger Slayer. Now this, of course, is not from any of the TV shows, as you guys might be thinking. This is strictly from the comics. It is the Ranger Slayer. It is Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, but there's some stuff in the story of how she became the Ranger Slayer. So I actually have not read the comics, but I did look up the information regarding the Ranger Slayer, and it does seem very interesting. And oddly enough, tomorrow, June 3rd, is when the one-shot of the Ranger Slayer comic is actually supposed to release. So great timing for this figure to actually come out. But unfortunately, Zeo Gold and Mighty Morphin Blue Ranger Billy, those have not yet shipped from Amazon. Of course, the release date was June 1st, but with these figures, it's hard to actually put a specific hard release date on figures like this. So who knows when it's going to be shipping out. I did get charged for it. I ordered 2 Ranger Slayers and 1 Blue Ranger. I forgot the Zeo Gold in that order, but I was charged for the full order, so I assumed Blue was going to be shipping too. But as of this video, it has not yet even shipped. It's not preparing to ship. Who knows when it's going to show up. It'll show up when it does, and we'll kind of go through and do the video then. But anyway, Ranger Slayer looking awesome. All kinds of accessories. No unmasked head or unhelmeted head, but I do have the one from the Pink Ranger release, so I'll be doing a head swap with those. So pretty cool packaging, just like all the other ones. You know, we get the artwork of the Ranger as it loops around. We get the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo at the top because it is set in that continuity within the Boom Studios comics. There on the other side, we get that same artwork. Pretty cool looking. Let's get it opened up. Okay, so here is the Ranger Slayer figure out of the package, and I am very, very pleased with this figure. It's pretty awesome. The accessories are really cool. The figure itself is a nice change up from the same Ranger type figures that we've kind of begun, and it's the nature of the beast. The Rangers, they all have uniform, you know, suits, so of course that's going to happen. So this really changes things up. You know, since I don't collect outside of Mighty Morphin, although I do collect Zeo, of course, but I am branching a little bit and going in space, and then I'll be going into Lost Galaxy. I actually did watch In Space on Netflix, so going into Lost Galaxy, everyone's been saying how good those seasons were, and you know what? Lost Galaxy was actually pretty good, and I would say better than Mighty Morphin, yes. Far better than Turbo, because Turbo really sucked. Oh, I will be collecting Turbo if they ever release any of those figures, by the way. Anyway, way off topic. Ranger Slayer figure, really awesome. Let's take a look at the cool accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure and her articulation. Okay, so first up in the accessories is the Bow of Darkness. Now this is her weapon, and this is what's cursed and kind of has her brainwashed with Lord Draken. So similar with Tommy and the sword. I don't remember if it was called the Sword of Darkness, but this is the Bow of Darkness. This is how he has kind of the enchantment over her, and as you can see, the resemblance between the two. But once this is destroyed, that's when she kind of goes good or whatever. But this is her weapon. Really cool. We get some black paint on there, a little bit of red paint, and then just this gray silver plastic color. I don't know why mine's really sticky. Like it like sticks to my finger. There was no tape in the package, so that was a little bit odd. But we get these 2 clips right here, and what's really cool with that is you can actually use the power bow effect that she comes with. So this is just that same one that the original Pink Ranger came with, but you can just see it's much darker in color. So a couple of things, you can actually clip this on with one of those clips, as you can see there, and so it can hold in place. That is really cool. But this other 3 arrow piece that she comes with, you can use it and it clips on. You just kind of have to line it up and move it around like so. But there you have it, and it holds the 3 arrows in quite nicely. Really cool. It's very similar to the single arrow that came with the original Pink Ranger. It's just, you know, 3 different arrows kind of put together, so that's pretty cool. We finally get a folded up power blaster. Now we know that the San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack with the Red Ranger Jason and Zeo Gold Ranger, we had one of these power blasters that were folded down, but the other figures have been coming with the one with the blaster actually out. So now we get a folded one. It is the wrong color, but we do get one, so that is cool. And then she has 2 additional interchangeable hands, one with the flat hand and then a fist hand for the left hand. Her cape does come off, as you can see there. It's got a nice sculpt to it, wavy folds, a little bit of a tattered look to it, so that is pretty cool. We get some pink here on the shoulder piece, and then a little bit of silver right there, and it just kind of sits onto her neck like so. It doesn't peg in or anything like that. But now let's take a closer look at her. All right, here is an up-close look at the Ranger Slayer figure, and it is awesome. So here she is with the cape on. We're actually going to remove the cape so we can look at kind of the finer details of the figure itself. Now, the torso piece, so the lower torso with the crunch and the diaphragm joint, that's all the same as the Pink Ranger figure, but it looks like the rest of it is going to be all new sculpt, including the feet and the arms and everything. So these pink lines on her left arm, those are actually all sculpted on with the pink paint over the white. Now it's all done in black plastic and then the white paint over, and then the pink lines painted over that. We get white over here. White over the black isn't always come out the best. It definitely could have benefited from another layer of paint over it, but it's not terrible. But I do wish they would have gone over it a little bit more. The paint on the helmet looks really good. The silver for the mouth portion, the little green spots for the pterodactyl head there all came out pretty clean. The pink meeting the black, no problems there. We get a nice kind of shiny black for it as well. You see the white of her neckline. The diamond pieces, or the teeth pieces, whatever you guys want to call them, those came out looking really clean as well. Looking at the rest of the figure, we get these new sculpted parts for the legs and the knees. What I really like is you can actually see in the sculpt of it is kind of these slash marks kind of all over it, and that actually comes out looking really, really good. I like the way that looks there. The paint came out pretty clean except for right here. It does look a little bit sloppy with a little bit of black kind of showing through there, but overall looks really good, and then just kind of black on down the line. While we have a closer look at it, I want to point out these ankles and kind of how odd these ankle pieces are. So where the calf meets, and this is going to be similar to like the Marvel Legends Gwenpool, if you guys are familiar with that figure, but this ankle piece is a separate piece from the leg. So you have the leg, and then you have this ankle piece that swivels in there, and then the foot itself is separate from this ankle piece, which is very, very odd. Let me see if I can brighten this up for you guys. You could see there, it's just a separate piece. It's kind of odd and makes it a little bit difficult when you just want to move the foot around. You kind of have to hold the ankle piece in place, and then you can move the foot, especially when you want to hinge it and stuff, because when you try and hinge it up, it wants to move that where the ankle meets the leg. It's just kind of difficult, so be careful with that. But there is the figure. Now let's take a look at her articulation. Okay, so the articulation for the Ranger Slayer, she can look up a little bit, she can look down a little bit, not a whole lot. I think a lot of the Ranger figures kind of suffer from the neck, the head being really low on the neck. Kind of the same thing here. Feels a little bit wobbly, but you kind of get some control over it. Not a whole lot of pivot in the neck or anything, but you can kind of move it around. Shoulders go up that high, you get full rotation. Of course, there is no upper bicep swivel. You get a swivel at the elbow, and it is a single jointed elbow, so it gives you a little bit more than 90 degrees. The wrist swivel and the hinge. So this one with the kind of the arrow or bow holding hand with the finger out, it has kind of a roll of the dice motion to it. The other side is just kind of an open hand, has the normal hinge that you see there. There is the butterfly joint, so you can get the arm to go back that far. You can get a little bit of crossbody, not a whole lot, but you do get some going in there. You get the diaphragm joint, so she can pivot to the side that much, pivot to the other side that much. She can go back quite a bit. She can come forward a little bit, but then we get the ab crunch, so she could really go back and really come forward. So that is nice. No waist swivel, of course. Legs go out that far apart. She can kick forward that far. Legs go back just a tiny bit. There is the upper thigh cut there, but it is kind of hard to get a full swivel because of the way the sculpted part of the leg, the armor, works out, but you can move it around a little bit. You get a double jointed knee. We get the swivel at the ankle, and then foot pivot goes all the way down. You got to be careful because you kind of have to hold that ankle. Pivot goes up a little bit, and you get the hinge goes up a little bit, and you get a nice ankle pivot there and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So good articulation. It's the same of what we see with all the other Ranger figures, so it's nice to see that continue. The ankles are a little bit odd and makes it a little bit difficult when moving the hinge around, but I mean, you'll get it. You just got to work with it a little bit. Now let's see how she compares to the regular Pink Ranger. Okay, and there are the two Ranger figures, Pink Ranger figures, side by side. You can see they're about the same height. We get a much bigger helmet on the Ranger Slayer. The Morpher is actually a little bit larger, where it's kind of hard to tell, whereas you don't see, because the black of the Morpher holder really blends in with this figure, it's kind of hard to judge, but it definitely looks a little bit bigger on the Ranger Slayer figure, but I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. They do look very good side to side. Now here she is with Lord Draken, because this is the only other Boom Studio specific comic book figure that we have. So you have them together. Of course, this would work. She would fit in with all the other Rangers naturally, of course, but they do look very good together. I'm very pleased. Now we're going to see if the Kimberly head actually fits on the Ranger Slayer figure. Now, because the Ranger Slayer is in an alternate timeline in the future, obviously she's much older. I think her hairstyle is going to be different. So it's not going to be an exact match, but it's the best thing that we got. So we're going to check it out. So we're going to pop the head off there. It comes off pretty easily. We're going to see if the Kimberly head fits on there, and it kind of does. It doesn't really pop on, but it definitely fits. So if you want to go with that, you could. And I still get hear people say that Kimberly head sculpt doesn't look like her at all, where I think it does. Let's see if, God, it's hard for her to stand because the way those ankles are. Oh, these ankles. So that's something that you're going to have to fight with too, is getting her to stand properly, because the way the ankles are and trying to hinge them, it's difficult. Mine's a little bit gummy. It was delivered today by Amazon. It was very warm as well by the time I got it. So I just can't get the figure to stand up. So those are some of the difficulties that you're going to have with this figure once you guys get it. So prepare for that. But the Kimberly head does fit on there. It's scale-wise, it works out well, in my opinion. And because I've been doing this with every figure, here is the Ranger Slayer figure next to the Marvel Legends Stan Lee. Okay, so my final thoughts on the figure. I'm very pleased to have it. You know, out of Wave 5, I'm definitely more interested in the Mighty Morphin Blue Ranger. Zeo Gold, I have the Jason version, even though I do want the Tray of Triforia one. I haven't read the Boom Studios comics, you know, everything, the YouTube videos that I've watched, everything that I read online. It sounds very, very interesting. The one-shot Pink Slayer, the Ranger Slayer comic that's supposed to come out tomorrow, that should be very interesting as well. This is just an all-around awesome figure. I really like it. It is very unique design, so it looks really, really good. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of the figure. If you ordered from Amazon, is yours on the way? Did you get any of Wave 5 coming towards you? Time Force, I think, is shipping, but Zeo Gold and Blue, I don't think are. So far, just the Ranger Slayer figure, but I am very happy to have it. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think. If you guys liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and as always, thank you for watching.